All right, so today I've got 4 book recommendations for you. These are books that I have found extremely helpful in understanding how we've gotten into the current situation we're in today as it relates to religion and politics and culture wars. So these 4 books I think are really helpful in looking at our history here in America and also from the lens of the church through Christianity. So the first one I highly recommend is The Search for Christian America. This is by Mark Noll, Nathan Hatch, and George Marsden. This book is from the 1900s. It came out in 1989. And these 3 authors look at the history of America and the church in America and explore some of the questions that were relevant in 1989 that are still highly relevant today. It's an accessible book by 3 really great scholars. Mark Noll is actually one of my favorite historians. It's not an easy read, but it is accessible, and also it's from 1989, and so a lot of the stuff that they were wrestling with then, we're still wrestling with today. And so this is helpful if you're trying to gain an understanding of how we got to the moment that we're in here in the year of our Lord 2025. And so take a look at the Search for Christian America. The second book is by James Davison Hunter, and it's a little bit of a thicker book. This is also from the 1900s. This is from the early 90s. It's called Culture Wars, The Struggle to Define America. In this, Hunter explores some of the flashpoints of, at the time, was an emerging culture war that here 35 years later, we're still wrestling in. So if you want a historical understanding of how we got here through the culture war lens, Hunter's work is a really helpful place to start. And then thirdly, we have The Myth of a Christian Nation by Greg Boyd. This is from the early 2000s, so he's wrestling with things like the Iraq and Afghanistan war. And he's looking at this through the lens of political power in the church. And so his work is really helpful in noticing how the church and political power in America have woven together sometimes, and how that can be destructive for the church and also destructive for America. And then this one's a bit more scholastic, but City on a Hill, Abram Van Engen, he explores the moment that we're in now through the lens of a sermon in which we see an old preacher use the word city on a hill to talk about colonial America, and how that phrase, city on a hill, has been used not only in colonial days, but also in modern days. One of the more famous recent ones in recent history is Ronald Reagan's use of city on a hill. And Van Engen looks at the state of politics and religion throughout American history through the lens of how that phrase has been used in rhetoric, in books, in periodicals, and things like that. So I recommend these 4 books to you. I think they'll be a help to you as you seek to understand how we have gotten into this cultural moment we find ourselves in today.